We continue now at the top of Daf Nun Beis Amud Aleph and Meseches Sanhedrin. This is Sanhedrin Daf 52a. On the previous Amud, the Gemara was discussing the Machlokes Tanoim between Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Akiva in terms of the pasuk which says Ubas ish kohen ki seichel liznos, that if the daughter of a kohen commits adultery, so it says that her punishment is sreifa, her punishment is the death penalty by burning. And so there was Machlokes on the previous Amud between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Yishmael to what extent, in which cases specifically, do we say that the punishment is sreifa. In any case, on the previous Amud, Rabbi Akiva used the word aviyah for a gzeira shaveh. That's the word aviyah in the pasuk where it says liznos es aviyah hi mechaleles. And the question is, Rabbi Yishmael, what does he do with the word aviyah? And so the Gemara now asks, according to Rabbi Yishmael, hi es aviyah hi mechaleles, my darish be this pasuk of es aviyah hi mechaleles, if he's not making that gzeira shaveh that Rabbi Akiva has, what is he doing with that pasuk? And the Gemara answers me, he's going to use that pasuk for what is taught in the following brisa. Hi Rabbi Meir, Omer Rabbi Meir would say, Ma Talmud lomer es aviyah hi mechaleles. Why does the pasuk say es aviyah hi mechaleles? It means as follows: in a situation of this bas kohen, when she commits adultery, shim hayu noagin bo kodesh, if they used to treat this father of this bas kohen, if they used to treat him in a holy manner, noagin bo chol, now they'll treat him in a mundane manner. Kavod, if they used to give him honor, noagin bo bizayu, now they'll treat him in a way of disgrace. Omrin, they would say, Orur, they'll say, cursed, shazu yolad, cursed is this one that he gave birth to this daughter. Orur shazu gidel, cursed is this person that he raised this daughter. Orur shayatzazu mechalotzav, again, cursed is this person that this is what came out from him. And the Gemara continues, Amar Ravashi, Ravashi says, Keman karinon Rishia bar Rishia, va'afilu Rishia bar tzadika. According to who are we following when we call a wicked person the son of a wicked person? We'll call him the son of a wicked person, even if really he's a wicked person, the son of a tzaddik. Why would we call him wicked, the son of wicked? Keman kehaitana. Who does that follow? It follows this exact brisa we just quoted above, that when somebody's descendant, when somebody's child does something that makes them a rasha, not only is that child called a rasha, but they are called a rasha as well. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, Zum mitzvahs haniskolin, this is the mitzvah of those who get stoned. And the Gemara says, My tana dekatani zum mitzvahs haniskolin. Where did it say anything about skila over here in this Mishnah, that now it's saying zum mitzvahs haniskolin? And the Gemara explains what we explained in the Mishnah. Mishum de tana, because it taught in the previous perek, nigmar hadin, motziano solasoklo, beis haskila haya gavoa shtekomos. It had various details about the beis haskila, about the process of stoning. Va'aidi dekaboy lemisna mitzvahs hanisrafin. Now, since in the coming Mishnah we're about to say the mitzvahs hanisrafin, so tananami zu mitzvahs haniskolin. So therefore, in the previous Mishnah, it said this, what we learned previously, is the mitzvahs haniskolin, and now we're going to learn the mitzvahs hanisrafin. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah, mitzvahs hanisrafin, the process of the death penalty by sreifa, by burning, is as follows. Hayu meshaken oso bezevel adar kuvosov, they have the person sit in dung until his knees. V'nosnin sudar kasha l'so charak, and they put a harsh sudar, a harsh piece of cloth, inside a softer one. V'korech al tzavaro, when they tie it, they wrap it around his neck. Zem moshech etzlo v'zem moshech etzlo, this witness, he pulls in one direction, this piece of cloth, and the other one pulls in the other direction, essentially strangling the person, asher poseach es piv, until he's forced to open his mouth. Umadlik es apsila, then they light the wick, v'zarka l'soch piv, and they throw the burning wick into his mouth. V'yoredis l'soch me'av, it goes into his intestines. V'chomeres es b'nei me'av, and it burns his intestines. Rabbi Yehuda says, afim hu meis biyadam, but if they're going to do it in that fashion, so he might die while they're strangling him, lo hayim mekayim bo mitzvah sreifa, then they wouldn't fulfill the mitzvah of sreifa, that he has to die by burning. Ella, rather, says Rabbi Yehuda, poseach es piv betzavas, rather what they do is, they take some tongs and they use that to open up his mouth, shalo betovaso, against his will, umadlik es apsil, and again, they light the wick, v'zarka l'soch piv, and they throw it into his mouth, v'yoredis l'soch me'av, and it goes down into his intestines, v'chomeres es b'nei me'av, and it burns his intestines. Amar Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Tzadok says, Ma'isa bebas Kohen, there was an incident with the daughter of a Kohen, Achas Shazin, so with one particular daughter of a Kohen who committed adultery, so she was chayav the death penalty of burning. V'kifua chavile zemuros, and what they did was they surrounded her with bundles of branches, v'sarfua, and they burned her in that fashion. Amrulo, so they said to him, Mimnei shelo haya bezin shelo sasha baki. The reason why they did that was because that particular court, they were not an expert court, they didn't actually know what to do. And the Gemara says, "My psila." What does it mean in the Mishnah when it says a wick? Amar Rav Masna says psila shalaver. It means a wick of lead. Again, that's poured down the throat. And the Gemara continues, Minolan, from where do we know that this is what sreifa means, that it doesn't just mean burning the body? How do we know that it means you pour this down the throat in order to burn the person? And the Gemara says, Asya sreifa me'adas korach. We learn a gzer shava because it also says sreifa by the assembly of korach. Malahalan sreifas neshama v'guf kayim, just like over there, it's the burning of the neshama, but the body remained intact. Afkan, so too, by the death penalty of sreifas neshama v'guf kayim. It's the burning of the soul, but the body remains intact. And the Gemara gives another answer. Rebbe Elazar says, Asya sreifa mibnei Aaron. We learn from the word sreifa, again sreifa over here, and sreifa by the sons of Aaron, by Nadav and Avihu. Malahalan sreifas neshama v'guf kayim, just like over there, it was a burning of the soul, but the body remained intact. Afkan, so too over here, sreifas neshama v'guf kayim, it means the burning of the soul, but the body remains intact. And the Gemara continues, Man de Yolef me'adas Korach, the one who learns from the assembly of Korach. Minole, from where does he learn this? Techsiv, because it's written, Ves machtos hachatoim ha'ela benafshosam. It talks about the sin in their souls, and that's where we learn, Shenishmas and Nisrafas. We learn from there that the Adas Korach, that their souls were burned, v'kuf kayim, but the body remained intact. V'idach, now the other one will say, Hahi sreifa mamishi, actually by Adas Korach, it was actually a full regular burning. Umay benafshosam. And why does it say in the pasuk benafshosam shenischayvu sreifa al iskei nafshosam? It means because of what they did with their souls. That's why they were chayiv to be burned. As the Gemara now explains, Kid Reish Lakish. It's like Reish Lakish says about the Adas Korach. The Amar Reish Lakish, because Reish Lakish says about the Adas Korach. Ma'idach siv. What does it mean when it's written in the pasuk bechanfei lage ma'og charok alai shinemo? And we'll take a look at Rashi. Rashi explains bechanfei lage mog. This pasuk means as follows: B'shvil chanufa shalagimos moog shechilam, because of the food that he fed them. V'hishkim korach ladosav, because of the food that he gave, the food and the drink that he gave to them, that Korach gave to his assembly. V'neschabru imo, they then gathered together with him. That's why all of this happened. That's how he understands the pasuk. As the Gemara now explains, B'shvil chanufa shechnifu Korach leKorach al iske legima, because of this flattery, so to speak, with Korach, that he gave them this food. Charak alein sar shel Gehenim Shinav, the officer of Gehenim, he gnashed his teeth over them. That's the meaning of that pasuk, and that pasuk is in Tehillim. And the Gemara continues, Uman de Yolef mibnei Aaron. Now the one who learns from the sons of Aaron, Minole, from where does he know it? Techsiv, because it's written in the pasuk, Vayamusu lifnei Hashem. It uses the language of Vayamusu, that they died. Ke'ein misa, it's like a regular death. It wasn't that their bodies were burned. V'idach, now the other one will say to that, Ha'us reifa mamish havoy. No, that really means that they were burned. Umay dechsiv vayamusu. What does it mean that they died? Ta'aschil behu migavoy, that it started from their insides, ke'ein misa, similar to a death. The Tanya, because we learned in a braysa, Abba Yossi ben Dustoi Omer, Abba Yossi ben Dustoi says that the way they died was as follows: Shnei chutin shalesh, there were two threads of fire, so to speak. Yatsumi beis kodesh hakadashim, that left the holy of holies. V'nechleku liarben, they split into four. V'nichnesu shnayim bechotmos shalzeh, and two of them entered this one's nostrils, like Nadav's ushnayim bechotmos shalzeh, and then two of them they entered the nostrils of Avihu. V'sarfum, and it burned them. But the Gemara continues, Vaksib, but isn't it written, Vatochel Osam? It says that it consumed them, and so therefore the them sounds like it's saying an exclusion. It happened maybe to their souls and not to their bodies, but the Gemara says, no, the other one will interpret, Osam velo bigdeim. It means that it consumed them fully, their bodies as well, but not bigdeim, not their garments. But the Gemara continues, instead of learning from the Adas Korach or from Nadav and Avihu, v'neilef mi parim hanisrafim, why not learn from the bulls that are burned? And there, Malahalan Sreifa Mamish, there we know that it's actual burning. Afkan Sreifa Mamish, so too by the death penalty of burning. Maybe it means the actual burning of the bodies. And the Gemara says to that, Mistaber, no, makes more sense to say, May Adam Havale Lamelef, that we should learn out from animals, we should learn out from a situation with people. Shekain Adam Chote Neshama Pigel, because what we have in common is Adam Chote Neshama and Pigel. And Rashi explains, Shekain Adam Chote Neshama Pigel, Adam May Adam. First we're learning people from people. Chote May Chote, we're also learning sinners from sinners. Netilas Neshama May Netilas Neshama, we're learning a situation where the person is killed from a situation where the person is killed. Again, Sreifa here is one of the death penalties. Avol Sreifas Parim, but when it comes to Sreifas Parim, the burning of the cow, of the bulls, Ein Bahem Netilas Neshama, they were not killing them through that burning. Shekvar Hein Neshchatan, they were already slaughtered. And Pigel means to say Davar She'ein Bo Pigel, Mi Davar she'ein bo pigul. Let's learn something where there's no pigul from something where there's no pigul. Pigul is something that applies only to karbanos, therefore it applies by parim hanisrafim. It's better not to learn from parim hanisrafim because that involves pigul, and this does not. But the Gemara continues, Adrab, on the contrary, mi parim hanisrafim havalei lamelech. Maybe we should learn from parim hanisrafim. Why? Shekein machshir ladoros, because what that has in common is machshir ladoros. Rashi explains, machshir sreifas bezdin machshir hechshir mitzvahs hamakom. Sreifas bezdin, carrying out that death penalty, is like a machshir because it's preparing the mitzvah from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'chein parim hanisrafim, and that's true also by the bulls that are burned. Avol sreifa dehani, but when it comes to the burning over here of Nadav and Avihu, or we're talking about the burning of the Adas Korach, lav bidei adam have, that didn't happen through people. Sheyekaimu behem mitzvahs hamakom. There's no fulfillment of a mitzvah there if it's coming from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so to speak. And uladoros, and then the other thing that's in common with parim hanisrafim is that's something that is a mitzvah ladoros for all generations. Davar hanoig ladoros mi davar hanoig ladoros. The death penalty of sreifa is for all generations. Parim hanisrafim is from all generations. So maybe we should learn from there, and we shouldn't learn from these incidents that happened at one time with Nadav and Avihu, or that happened with the Adas Korach. And the Gemara continues and answers, Hanach nefishin, even though there is something in common with parim hanisrafim, but there's more, it's nefishin, there's more things in common if you're learning again either from the Adas Korach or from Nadav and Avihu. And the Gemara continues, Man de yolef me Adas Korach. Now the one who learns from the Adas Korach, my time alo yolef me b'nei Aaron, so why doesn't he learn from b'nei Aaron? How sreifa mamish avoy? As we said, it's because that one understands that Nadav and Avihu is actually a full burning, a regular burning of their bodies. But the Gemara says, if that's the case, v'nei lef mina. So why not learn from b'nei Aaron that it's actually the death penalty of sreifa is actually the burning of the body? Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rabba bar Avuha. So Rav Nachman says that Rabba bar Avuha says, Amar Krutz, because the pasuk says, v'yohafta l'reacha kamocha, you have to love your friend like yourself. Boror lo misa yafa. That means you have to choose a better kind of death. It is certainly preferred not to actually have the body burned, but to do it in the way that the Mishnah explained, and that's why we choose that. In other words, you really do have a choice which one to learn, but we should choose the misa yafa. But the Gemara says, 1 second. Once we already have Rav Nachman saying misa yafa, gzeira shava lamali. Why do we need the gzeira shava at all? Why do you need to start comparing and learning sreifa from here or sreifa from there? Just go with Rav Nachman and say misa yafa. And the Gemara explains, ilav gzeira shava, because if we wouldn't have the gzeira shava, hava mina sreifas neshama v'guf kayim, I might have thought that burning the soul but leaving the body intact, lav sreifa yiklal. Maybe that's not called sreifa, so that might not even be a choice. And so therefore, v'im mishum v'yahavta l'reacha kamocha, and if that's not considered sreifa, if you're trying to fulfill v'yahavta l'reacha kamocha, so lafish lechaviles moros, just have a lot of bundles of branches, ki yechi delisraf legal, in order that he should be quickly burned. That's what I might have thought. So kamash malon, that's what the Gzeir Shav is teaching, that this is considered sreifa, and then once we know what Rav Nachman said, that bar lo misa yafa, we should choose the misa yafa, we know that this is the kind of sreifa that we should choose. And the Gemara continues at the 2 dots. So Kvar Hayu Moshe v'Aaron mahalchen b'derech. Moshe and Aaron, they were already walking on the road. V'Nadav v'Avihu mahalchen acharein, and Nadav and Avihu were walking after them. V'Chol Yisrael acharein, and all of Klal Yisrael were walking after them. Amar lo Nadav li Avihu, and Nadav said to Avihu, Eimosaya musu shnei zakenim halodo. When will these 2 old people die? V'ani v'ata naning es hador. That way, me and you will be able to lead the generation. Rashi explains, once we're already discussing the children of Aaron, Tana lehacha, so we teach this over here, Lashminan, to teach, the Bishvil Shayimavakshim Sarara V'Rabbanos Mesu, that it's because they wanted this leadership, they wanted to take on this role, that's the reason why they died. And the Gemara continues, Amar Lena Kadosh Baruch Hu, Kadosh Baruch Hu said to them, Hanira, mi kovres mi, let's see who buries whom, let's see who actually dies first. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rapapa says, Hainu Damri Inchi, that's what people say, Nefishi Gamle Savi de Ti'ini Mashche de Hugni. Rashi explains what the expression is, Nefishi Gamle Savi de Ti'ini Mashche de Hugni, Harbe Gemalim Zakenim. There are many old camels, Shetu'unim Oros Gemalim Yonkim Shemesu, that they're carrying the skins of the younger camels that have already died. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rebbe Lazar says, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video, on Daf Nun Beis, Amid Beis.